Joining us is the Shadow Immigration Minister and Home Affairs Minister Kristina Keneally. Kristina, appreciate your time as always. Just want to start off with Labor's response to the deportation of Novak Djokovic last night.
Well, Labor welcomes this decision and indeed is of the view that Novak Djokovic never should have been given a visa in the first place. And as Mr Morrison today goes around trying to pat himself on the back for this decision, most Australians just want to give him a kick up the backside. Because it was the Morrison government that gave Novak Djokovic a visa 60 days ago and then did nothing until we had a crisis on our borders. And just as Mr Morrison has done at every other point in this pandemic, failed to order enough vaccines, failed to order enough rapid antigen tests, doesn't have enough vaccine supply to ensure that children will be vaccinated before they go back to school next week. Supermarket shelves are empty. This Novak Djokovic bungle is just another example of incompetence and mismanagement from the Morrison government.
But we just had the Home Affairs Minister on the show. We just had Karen Andrews on the show who elaborated on that point. So visas can be issued, but the individual still has several areas that they need to satisfy. So they've got months to do that, i.e. go and get vaccinated, which wasn't done by Novak Djokovic. So shouldn't the onus be on him here?
Well, of course, Novak Djokovic has to take responsibility for his own vaccination and his own public statements about vaccination. But let's make a couple points here. One, the Australian government has Australian Border Force officers stationed at airports overseas like Dubai to avoid precisely the outcome we've had here. And that is that a person who doesn't have the proper exemption to come into the country gets on a plane. Novak Djokovic should have been stopped before he even got on a plane by Australian Border Force officers stationed overseas for exactly that purpose. Secondly, let's throw forward here, Peter, and use the minister's own logic. Is this really what the Morrison government plans for our border management post-pandemic? How many people, how many Australians are going to have family members or friends? How many businesses are going to have workers turn up at the border and get rejected by the Morrison government? If they had just done the work 60 days ago, if they had just worked with the Tennis Australia, if they'd just put in place a clear system, perhaps all of this.
But hang on, Tennis Australia were the ones who were trying to get him here.
And indeed, Tennis Australia has said that they have tried several times to work with the Morrison government about the exemption process, and it was the Morrison government that failed to act. It fails the pub test. If you consider that the Morrison government gave Novak Djokovic a visa 60 days ago. They didn't do anything when Novak Djokovic tweeted he was coming to Australia. They didn't do anything when he got on a plane to come here, including in Dubai, where we have ABF officers who could have sorted this out. And then when he got here, the Morrison government stuffed it up. Indeed, the Minister for Home Affairs threw up the white flag last week and admitted that they stuffed it up.
But his deportation show the system is working?
Peter, well, in fact, Peter, the system should have worked 60 days ago. Australia is now a laughing stock. The government have shown themselves, just as they did with the Ruby Princess, just as they've done with the stuff up of the future marine surveillance project, just as they've done on many occasions at our borders, they have stuffed this up. But the thing is, it's not just about the borders. And frankly, Peter, I care less about one tennis player than I do the millions of Australians who are suffering from the failures of management and competence by the Morrison government. You can't get a rat test for love or money. Our supermarket shelves are empty.
Just a quick one.
Parents don't know if their children are going to be vaccinated. And this is the point. It's mismanagement, whether it's Novak Djokovic or our empty supermarket shelves. It's Mr Morrison who acts too little, too late, and it's Australians that pay the price.
Just a quick one here. I've only got 30 seconds, but should he be out for 3 years? This is what Karen Andrews just said a short time ago.
Again, I'm not fussed about what they do with Novak Djokovic, but I tell you what, they should do something about George Christensen and the rest of the anti-vaxxers in the coalition party room. Mr Morrison can't pretend he's tough on Novak Djokovic and then go weak when he's got people like George Christensen and Senator Canavan out there undermining our vaccine rollout.